The machines were screaming. In the bright white hospital room, 3 doctors stood around a bed. Their faces looked scared. Their hands were shaking. On the bed lay an old man with white hair. His name was Mr. Harrison Whitmore. He was very, very rich. He owned big buildings and fancy cars. He had more money than most people could ever dream about. But right now, none of that money could help him. "His heart is getting weaker," said Dr. Carlson. He was the oldest doctor with gray hair. He looked at the machines that beeped and flashed. "We've tried everything. Nothing is working." Dr. Mitchell, a younger doctor, wiped sweat from his face. "Something is poisoning his body. But we don't know what it is. If we don't know what the poison is, we can't fix it." Nurse Sarah checked the tubes going into Mr. Harrison's arm. Her hands were shaking. "His breathing is getting worse. We only have a few minutes left." The room felt cold even though it was warm. Everyone knew what was happening. Mr. Harrison was dying. And the best doctors in the whole hospital couldn't save him. Mr. Harrison's eyes opened just a little bit. He tried to say something, but no words came out. He had been found in his garden that morning, lying on the ground, shaking and sick. By the time the ambulance brought him here, his whole body was shutting down. Outside the room, Mr. Harrison's 3 grown-up children waited in the hallway. They looked sad, but one of them kept checking his watch. He was thinking about his father's money. Dr. Carlson looked at the clock on the wall. It said 3:47. He took a deep breath. The doors flew open so hard they hit the walls. A boy ran into the room. He was small, maybe 9 years old. He wore a bright yellow shirt, but you could barely see the yellow anymore. Why? Because he was covered in mud. Thick, dark, wet mud. It was all over his shirt, all over his arms, all over his hands. It dripped onto the clean white hospital floor. "Where is he?" the boy shouted. His eyes looked everywhere. "Where's Mr. Harrison?" Dr. Mitchell's mouth fell open. "What? Who let a child in here?" "Security." But the boy was fast. He ran around the doctor like he was playing tag. He left muddy handprints on the doctor's clean coat. The boy's eyes found Mr. Harrison on the bed. "Mr. Harrison!" the boy yelled. He ran toward the bed. Nurse Sarah grabbed his shoulder. "Stop. You can't be in here. You're dirty. You'll make him sick." The boy tried to pull away. "I can save him," he shouted. "Please. I know what's wrong. I can fix it." Dr. Carlson stepped forward. "This is crazy. Someone call security right now. And get this boy cleaned up. He's covered in mud. He has germs." "It's not just mud," the boy screamed. Tears started running down his face. "It's special healing mud. From the clay by Miller's Creek. Mr. Harrison told me about it. He said his grandpa used it for poison. Please, you have to let me try." Everyone in the room stopped moving. Dr. Mitchell stared at the boy. "What did you just say?" "Poison," the boy said fast. "Mr. Harrison was poisoned. I saw his gardener this morning putting something bad in Mr. Harrison's tea. I didn't know what it was, but it looked wrong. So I ran to tell Mr. Harrison. But when I got there, he already drank it. He fell down. The ambulance came. But I remembered. I remembered what Mr. Harrison taught me about the healing clay. It can pull out poison. So I ran to Miller's Creek and I dug it up with my hands." The boy held up his muddy hands. They were shaking. The 3 doctors looked at each other. "Actually," Dr. Carlson said slowly, "some types of clay can absorb poison. It's an old medicine. Very old. But it does work sometimes." "We don't have time to talk about this," Dr. Mitchell said. "Look at him. He's dying right now." Beep, beep, beep. The machines around Mr. Harrison started making loud, scary sounds. His heart was beating wrong. Too fast. Then too slow. The boy looked at the doctors. Tears rolled down his dirty face. "Please," he said. His voice was small now. "Please. Mr. Harrison is my friend. He's the only person who's ever nice to me. Every day I go to his garden. He gives me food. He tells me stories. He teaches me things. When other rich people yell at me and chase me away, Mr. Harrison lets me sit with him. Please. Please let me try to save him." Nurse Sarah looked at Dr. Carlson. Her eyes were wet too. "We're losing him anyway," she said quietly. "What do we have to lose?" Dr. Carlson stared at the machines. The numbers were getting worse and worse. He looked at the muddy boy, then back at Mr. Harrison, who only had minutes left to live. He took a deep breath. "Okay," he said. "But if this doesn't work—" "It will work," the boy said. "It has to." And he stepped up to the bed, his muddy hands reaching out toward the dying billionaire. The boy's name was Elijah. He stood next to Mr. Harrison's bed. His small, muddy hands were shaking, but his eyes were brave. "What are you doing?" Dr. Mitchell asked. He sounded worried. "The clay has to touch the skin near where the poison went in," Elijah said. He sounded like he really knew what he was talking about. "Mr. Harrison taught me. The poison went in through his mouth. So the clay needs to go here." Very gently, Elijah spread the thick, dark mud on Mr. Harrison's jaw. The mud was cold and wet. It looked strange on the old man's pale skin. "This is insane," Dr. Mitchell whispered. "We're watching a child play with mud while a man dies." But Nurse Sarah was staring at the machines. Her eyes got very wide. "Wait," she said. "Look at the screen." Everyone turned to look. Mr. Harrison's heartbeat, which had been going crazy and getting weaker, was starting to get better. Just a little bit. But it was definitely changing. "That could just be luck," Dr. Carlson said. But he moved closer to see better. Elijah didn't stop. He took more mud from his hands and placed it carefully on Mr. Harrison's chest, right over his heart. His small fingers moved with care, like he'd done this before. Like he knew exactly what to do. "Please work," Elijah whispered. "Please save him. He saved me so many times. Please let me save him back." The machines kept beeping. But the beeping was getting better. The numbers on the screens were going up instead of down. "This is impossible," Dr. Mitchell said. His voice was very quiet. "His liver is getting better. His kidneys are working again. How is this happening?" "The clay," Dr. Carlson said. He sounded amazed, like he was seeing magic. "The clay is absorbing the poison. We learned about this in medical school, but I never thought. It's actually working. The special minerals in the clay are grabbing onto the poison and pulling it out through his skin." Elijah kept his hands on Mr. Harrison's chest. Tears were still running down his cheeks, making clean lines through the dirt on his face. Then something amazing happened. Mr. Harrison's eyes opened. They were confused at first. Then they focused on the boy standing beside him. The boy with the muddy hands pressed against his chest. "Elijah," Mr. Harrison said. His voice was weak and scratchy, but he was talking. He was alive. You came." "Of course I came, Mr. Harrison," Elijah said. Now he was smiling. "You're my friend. Friends save each other." "You remembered," Mr. Harrison whispered. "The healing clay. I told you that story about my grandfather. I thought you were too young to understand." "I remembered everything you taught me," Elijah said. His voice was fierce and strong. "About the clay. And about being kind to people even when they're different. And about how real treasure isn't money. It's having people who care about you. You taught me all of that." Dr. Carlson was writing things down as fast as he could. "Mr. Whitmore, can you tell us what you drank?" The boy said something about poisoning. Mr. Harrison's voice was getting a little stronger. "My gardener, Robert. He put something in my tea this morning. I don't know what it was, but I felt it right away. Burning. Couldn't breathe. everything hurt. "We'll test the clay," Dr. Mitchell said. He was carefully taking some of the mud to study it. "We'll see what poison it absorbed. This is going to change everything we know about treating poisoning." "Sir," she said softly, "you should know this boy saved your life. When all our treatments failed, when all our expensive medicine didn't work, he brought this clay and performed a miracle." Mr. Harrison reached out his hand. It was shaking, but he managed to touch Elijah's muddy arm. "Not a miracle," he said. "Just an old remedy. And a brave, smart boy who remembered." Over the next hour, Mr. Harrison got better and better. It was like watching a flower open up in fast motion. His color came back. His breathing got easier. The machines showed that his body was healing. The doctors did tests. They took samples of the mud. They tested Mr. Harrison's blood. And they found something shocking. The clay had absorbed a rare poison. A very dangerous poison from a special plant. A plant that grew in Mr. Harrison's own garden. The gardener had been growing it secretly, planning to kill Mr. Harrison and make it look like a heart attack. "Call the police," Dr. Carlson said. "Tell them to arrest Robert the gardener. We have proof now." Within 2 hours, the police had arrested Robert. He confessed everything. He had been planning it for months, hoping to steal from Mr. Harrison after he died. Mr. Harrison's children came into the room. They looked shocked that their father was alive. They looked uncomfortable when they saw Elijah, still covered in mud, sitting in a chair next to the bed. "Father," said Mr. Harrison's oldest daughter. She wrinkled her nose at Elijah like he smelled bad. "Who is this boy?" Mr. Harrison's eyes got hard. He sat up straighter in his bed. "This," he said in a strong voice, "is Elijah Santos. He's a boy with no home who comes to my garden every day. I feed him and talk to him. Unlike my own children, who only visit when they want money, Elijah visits because he actually cares about me." He ran 3 miles to Miller's Creek. He dug up this healing clay with his bare hands. Then he ran another 3 miles to this hospital. All to save my life. While my own family stood in the hallway arguing about my money, this boy was saving me. The children looked down at the floor. Their faces turned red. They felt ashamed, and they should have. Mr. Harrison kept talking. His voice was getting stronger with every word. "Elijah," he said, looking right at the boy. "When I get out of this hospital, we need to talk. I want you to live in my house. In a real room. With a real bed. With real food every day. Not as charity. As family. Because you're the only one who acted like family when it mattered." Elijah's eyes got so big they looked like they might pop out of his head. "Really?" he whispered. "You mean it? Really, really?" "Really, really," Mr. Harrison said, and he smiled. "You saved my life with mud and friendship. The least I can do is give you a home. A real home. Forever." He hugged Mr. Harrison carefully, not wanting to hurt him. His muddy arms left prints on the white hospital sheets, but nobody cared. Dr. Carlson watched them. Then he walked over to Elijah. "Young man," he said, "you just did something that we're going to study for years. You saved a life using medicine that we forgot about. Medicine that we thought was just old stories. That takes courage. It takes knowledge. And it takes a good heart." He paused and smiled. "When you're older, if you want to, I would be honored to help you become a doctor. We need doctors who remember that sometimes the old ways work. Doctors who are brave enough to try new things when the regular ways fail. Doctors with good hearts like yours." Elijah looked up at Dr. Carlson. "You really think I could be a doctor?" "I know you could," Dr. Carlson said. "You already saved a life today. That's more than some doctors do in their whole careers." Dr. Mitchell came over too. He didn't look angry anymore. He looked amazed. "I'm sorry I tried to stop you," he said to Elijah. "I should have listened. You knew something we didn't. That's what makes a great doctor. Knowing things that others don't." and having the courage to use that knowledge. Nurse Sarah brought a warm, wet cloth and started gently cleaning the mud off Elijah's hands and arms. "You're a hero," she said softly. "A real hero." As the hours went by, more people heard the story. Other doctors came to see. Nurses whispered about the miracle. Hospital workers peeked into the room. They all saw the same thing. A rich old man, alive and getting better. And a poor young boy, still covered in bits of drying mud, sitting beside him holding his hand. Mr. Harrison's 3 children quietly left. They had learned something today, though it was hard to learn. They learned that money doesn't make you rich. Love makes you rich. Friendship makes you rich. Caring about others makes you rich. The police came and asked questions. Elijah told them everything he saw. How the gardener, Robert, had acted strange. How he put something in the tea when he thought nobody was watching. But Elijah had been watching. Elijah was always watching, because when you're homeless and alone, you learn to notice everything. "You're very brave," the police officer said. "And very smart. You saved a man's life today." As the sun started to set outside the hospital window, Mr. Harrison was sitting up in bed. He was eating soup. He was talking. He was alive. And it was all because of a 9-year-old boy who remembered a story. A boy who ran 6 miles. A boy who got covered in mud. A boy who refused to give up on his friend. Dr. Carlson wrote everything down in his reports. He sent the information to medical schools. He sent it to other hospitals. Because what happened today was important. It showed that sometimes the best medicine isn't in a bottle. Sometimes it's in the earth. Sometimes it's in old stories passed down from grandparents. Sometimes it's in the love between an old rich man and a young poor boy. "You know what's funny?" Mr. Harrison said to Elijah as the stars started coming out. "My own children have expensive college degrees. They have fancy jobs. They have a lot of money. But you, with no school and no money, you're the smartest person I know. Because you have something they don't have." "What's that?" Elijah asked. "A good heart," Mr. Harrison said. "And wisdom. Real wisdom. The kind that can't be bought or taught. The kind that you're just born with." Elijah smiled. It was the biggest, brightest smile anyone had ever seen. 3 months later, Elijah moved into Mr. Harrison's big house. He had his own room. It had a soft bed and warm blankets and shelves for books. Mr. Harrison made sure Elijah went to school. A good school. They sat in the garden together, the old man and the young boy, talking and laughing. The doctors published their findings. The special clay from Miller's Creek became famous. Scientists studied it. They found out it could help with many types of poisoning. Hospitals started keeping it in their emergency rooms. And it all started because a poor boy with muddy hands had the courage to burst through hospital doors when everyone said no. Because he loved his friend more than he feared the rules. Because he believed in old wisdom when modern medicine had given up. Sometimes the dirtiest hands carry the purest healing. Sometimes the smallest voice speaks the biggest truth. Sometimes the poorest child holds the richest treasure. And sometimes, all it takes to perform a miracle is mud, love, and the courage to try. If this story touched your heart, don't scroll away. Hit that like button if you believe in the power of friendship. Drop a comment telling us, would you have been brave like Elijah? Subscribe for more incredible true stories that will restore your faith in humanity.